We start the day's other headlines with a series of legal developments. First up, a judge has ordered that Columbia University graduate Mahmoud Khalil be freed from the immigration detention center where he's been held since March. The Trump administration is trying to deport Khalil for engaging in pro-Palestinian protests, saying he's a threat to the nation's foreign policy. But the judge in New Jersey said Khalil is not a flight risk and is, quote, not a danger to the community, period, full stop. Khalil is a green card holder and a legal U.S. resident. He's not been charged with any crime. Also today, a federal judge is blocking the Trump administration's efforts to prevent Harvard University from hosting international students. Today's order is a temporary victory for the school, which has been the target of government actions towards its tax-exempt status and billions of dollars in federal funding, among others. It comes as President Trump said on social media that his administration is nearing a deal with Harvard, saying school officials have, quote, acted extremely appropriately during these negotiations and appear to be committed to doing what's right. In California, a federal judge set a Monday deadline for state officials to argue whether and how they'll challenge the Trump administration's use of the National Guard in Los Angeles. Last night, an appeals court said President Trump can retain federal control of California's forces for now. Trump deployed them earlier this month over the objections of California Governor Gavin Newsom amid protests against immigration raids. Vice President J.D. Vance is in L.A. tonight, where he's set to meet with federal law enforcement and Marines, who were also deployed in response to the recent demonstrations. The Supreme Court sided with the fossil fuel and vaping industries today in a pair of 7-2 decisions. In one case, the justices decided to allow fuel producers to challenge California's ability to set stricter emission standards than federal law typically allows. Oil and gas companies had argued that California's waiver from those federal standards hurts the gas-powered car industry. Separately, the court rejected a bid by the FDA to limit which courts vaping companies can use to challenge federal regulations. The justices found that R.J. Reynolds Vapor Company can pursue a case about e-cigarette marketing in the nation's Fifth Circuit. That court has been more friendly to the industry. Anti-smoking groups say the ruling could hurt efforts to keep young people from vaping. The Trump administration sent layoff notices to hundreds more employees at Voice of America today. The cuts impacted 639 employees at the broadcaster and the U.S. agency that oversees it. According to a press release, that means some 1,400 people have now lost their jobs since March, or about 85% of its prior workforce. VOA began broadcasting to residents of Nazi Germany in the 1940s. But President Trump's senior advisor to the agency, Kari Lake, says the layoffs are a, quote, long overdue effort to dismantle what she calls a bloated, unaccountable bureaucracy. Turning overseas, at least 37 Palestinians were killed in the Gaza Strip today, some while trying to get food. Hospital officials in central Gaza say they received the bodies of 14 people. Many of them died in an Israeli airstrike on a home nearby. They say the others were killed as they tried to get food at an aid distribution site. Violence near such sites has become almost daily occurrences, with the Hamas-controlled health ministry saying hundreds have been killed in recent weeks. In a statement provided to Reuters, Israel says it fired warning shots at suspected militants who approached its forces and then, quote, struck and eliminated the suspects with an aircraft. Lawmakers in the UK approved a bill today to legalize assisted dying, bringing it one step closer to becoming law.
The ayes have it, the ayes have it. A law!
The legislation allows terminal patients over the age of 18 who have less than 6 months to live to choose to end their lives. Supporters argue that people with a terminal diagnosis should have the option of assisted dying, but opponents say the policy could be used to coerce vulnerable people. The bill now goes to the House of Lords, who can delay or amend but not overrule today's measure. Such procedures are currently legal in a handful of countries, including Canada and Australia, plus 11 U.S. states. In southern Mexico, authorities are assessing the damage after Hurricane Eric barreled through the region, killing at least one person. The storm toppled trees, downed power lines, and flooded streets. And officials say a one-year-old boy drowned in a swollen river. Eric made landfall early yesterday as a Category 3 storm in a rural area between two resort towns. Hundreds of thousands of people were left without power, but otherwise residents were spared the worst of the storm's wrath. On Wall Street today, stocks ended mixed in quiet post-holiday trading. The Dow Jones Industrial Average added just 35 points on the day. The Nasdaq fell nearly 100 points, or about 0.5%. The S&P 500 also ended lower to close out the week. And Hawaii's Kilauea volcano is erupting again in rather dramatic fashion, shooting large fountains of lava up to 1,000 feet in the air. The U.S. Geological Survey says this latest eruption began overnight and has not posed any threat to populated areas nearby. Kilauea is located on Hawaii's Big Island and is one of the world's most active volcanoes, with dozens of eruptions since December. They usually last for about a day. Still to come on the News Hour, we sit down with the Librarian of Congress who President Trump fired. Jonathan Capehart and Ramesh Ponnuru weigh in on the week's political headlines. And federal agents are denied access to Dodger Stadium in the latest immigration clash.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein Studio at WETA in Washington, and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.